Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Bob Dubois, who is a Colorado network marketing leader. Welcome to the program, Bob.
Thanks, Mike. How you doing today?
Hey, just doing awesome, and I've just enjoyed our series of talks, and want to just continue along with this concept that we've been talking about that I just think that so many people miss if they don't give it some attention. And we've been talking about the benefits of network marketing, and I think one big thing that a lot of people may have in their mind as a worry or fear is I'm kind of average. I'm not that I'm a nobody, but I'm not a special, high achiever and top 1%er. So how could this industry make an impact in people's lives so that just the average person feels like, you know what, I could do this?
Yeah. Well, Mike, I myself, I couldn't really speak real well and stuff. I kind of was, in my younger days of life, I had a speech impediment and everything. And I always wondered when I got introduced to this industry, if I could be like, the people that had a lot of success. And, it wasn't really about my past because, everything is, a lot of successful things in life are built around a system, and in network marketing, the average person can succeed if they'll just follow basically a simple duplicatable system. Let's talk about some of those things, like, a lot of franchises like Subway and Pizza Hut, Remax, Discount Tire, McDonald's. In fact, let me talk about McDonald's for a minute. I grew up around McDonald's. My dad actually opened up the first McDonald's ever in El Paso, Texas, for a guy who owned the franchise here in Colorado. And we moved to El Paso, and so I was around McDonald's. I mean, we lived at McDonald's, and Ronald McDonald was my buddy. But McDonald's has a system. Think about a few things. You walk in there. When you walk in, the bathrooms are on the right. There's about 3 cash registers, maybe 1 or 2 people running them. Fries are on the left over near the drive-up windows. The burgers and everything is being cooked in the back. If you want a large drink, they put a large cup underneath and push a large button.
Yep.
Anybody can run a McDonald's once they know their system. And it's the same thing here, no matter what kind of company it is. Most companies in network marketing, in the direct selling industry, they teach a system. They usually will have their own system built. And, so what I've learned is I learned the system, and now what I do nowadays is I help people learn that system. I teach them how to teach people to the system. It's very duplicatable, and when we can run with a system, that's the power of leverage. That's when you're able to start creating you bring in 1 or 2 people to your business. We could duplicate that, and next thing you know, you can have hundreds and then thousands of people doing the same thing. And that can be that's massive leverage. One of the big keys to this is always a simple and very duplicatable system that, basically anybody can learn. So,
that's, you really bring up a good point, and I wish we had some research statistics right at our fingertips to prove this, but I'm confident because growing up, my best friend, his dad owned like 6 McDonald's, so I'm familiar with that model as well, and the franchise model. But am I correct in thinking that the average employee of McDonald's is somewhere like 16, 17?
Yeah, that's probably more likely. They're young. You got some real old generation at McDonald's now, but yeah, you're starting them off very young at McDonald's for the most part. Yeah, 16 and 17.
And probably
and
if you look at the managers, the regional managers, the store managers, that's a position with high responsibility. They are not corporate VP, CEO type people. And where we're going with that is people can fear, well, I couldn't do that, but wow, look at McDonald's. They teach a 16-year-old how to push a button, smile, do this, put this here, open this here, all of those things. And that's a lot of steps. Probably if you compared a network marketing duplicatable system, it's 1/100th of the complication that McDonald's is, but yet McDonald's has very young people that just start at the bottom and work their way to the top. So what would a duplicatable system, give me some ideas of what that could look like? Because I think that sounds like a phrase, duplicatable system, but what would that look like?
Well, really, what it's like, what that could be. It could be as simple as making a list. We've got to have our inventory in this business, and it's people. It's people. So a system that might be taught is, hey, write down a names list. Are you marketing this? You going after the money? You going after the product? Are you in there for weight loss, or you in there for savings, or whatever the company's product is? It's going to be based around that system. But usually that is you're basically going to make a names list for your inventory. You're going to contact these people, and then you're going to get a hold of them, and you're going to tell them a story. It can be that simple, and then show them a presentation or give them a sample of a product. And it can be that simple. A lot of times, we teach people not to try to explain everything out. One of your main things is to get the initial meeting booked, so you can sit down with somebody, or you can send them a presentation. But it's very simple, and then you just repeat. I recently heard a guy talk. I think his name was Andy Henriquez. And he talked about a story, Mike, about how his mom was able to raise all this money she needed to buy a building, and she didn't have any money. And she went to all her friends, and he kept saying, "Mom, how did you do it?" And she had a foreigner, she was a foreigner accent, so it was kind of neat when he was saying it. But she just said, I made the list, I picked up the phone, I told them the story.
Yeah.
I made the list. I picked up the phone. I told them the story. And you learn in this business that it's about numbers and contacting people, and then letting them know what you have, that you want them to see, the product, the ability to make money.
And aren't I correct in thinking that most organizations and programs would have all of the tools? Like, what do I say? I don't know some story. I don't know what, but wouldn't the organization have the tools to say, oh, well, we've got this 3-step brochure that you would just talk people through. Oh, we've got this video that you can show people and then answer questions. So you don't need to feel like you've got to be the guru and the expert. And you have that support there because the tools are already created.
Oh, yes. To my knowledge, I don't know any company out there that doesn't have their tools provided to them, that the company, they might even get them out. They might even be able to get them in a starter kit. They might be able to purchase them for a small fee. The business partners that brought them in before them can help get them those tools and that system. And, that's the one thing that's unique in this business too, usually, is there's people that have gone before us, mentors, sometimes they're called upline. People that were in before you, that are going to help you, take you and teach you that system. That's how simple. I mean, it's just, they'll take you by your hand, and they'll help. They should. Let me say it like that. I can't speak for everybody, but I know in my successes have been to take somebody by the hand and get them the tools, teach them the system, and work with them hands-on in the field with our systems so they can learn it. Because if we can teach somebody how to do it, they can then teach somebody how to do it. But then if we start teaching people to teach people, we can feed communities and we can help a lot of people change and better their lives. And it all comes back to this. To all my knowledge, all companies have a system.
Yep. Hey, Bob, have you ever heard of someone that might not reach out and ask for help because they don't want to inconvenience the other person, or they don't want to be a bother, and they just literally just kind of hold back because of that feeling?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things I talk to people, that you got to reach out to people. When you start getting a big team, organization, it's hard to reach out to everybody. People need to reach out. You got different style of people out there too. You might have introverts.
But if that average person that might feel that way, the mental block that you can shatter that mindset is the people up above and part of that organization that have gone on before you that do know more about the system and know about the success steps. They are overwhelmingly waiting to help you out. So don't hesitate, don't hold back, because they have a vested interest in your success. The better their organization does, the better they do. So they want you to succeed. So it's not like, ask me a favor and they're going to give of their time. So I just wanted to make sure that is something you could speak to, because don't hesitate reaching out. People are there for you. They are in it to benefit with you as well.
Well, Mike, something, I kind of see how you went with that. A little bit expanded on that. In my early days, I was hungry for this. Once I understood the ability, the size of the money, and the future I saw that this could build, I made a decision that I was going to make sure that my upline, that the people that had a lot of success, would give me their time. So I called them, and the more I was working and more I was calling them, the more of their time I got. And one of the biggest teachings in this, at least in my experience in this industry, is to work with the ones that are calling you. Work with the people that are calling you, because, and they are unbelievable. I've never seen any industry or anything I've ever done for a living where people are willing to help you become successful if you'll just reach your own hand out. I was taught. A little quick thing here is I was taught, even nowadays, walk with the walkers, run with the runners, and quit on the quitters. People that are reaching out, you've got to reach out to people so they know that that you want their help.
And you're exactly right, because those more experienced people are going to give their help somewhere. Why shouldn't it be to you if you want it? And the only way for those people to know that you do want it is for you to reach out. And more so than that, let's dig even deeper. Once you are given some help and training or resources or their time, guess what the biggest insult would be to that upline? For you not to implement it and do it. Right? So speak correct. A little bit about the average person that goes, okay, I'm going to do this. I am teachable. I'm going to be moldable. I'm going to learn this easy, duplicatable system. And when someone trains me and teaches me something, I'm going to go out there and see how fast, not only am I going to implement it, I'm going to see how fast and precisely I can implement it. What does that do for both up and down?
Oh, that's where you create massive momentum right there. That gets exciting, because you've got somebody that's, it's all about some key teachable and coachable. A person's got to come in this business teachable and coachable, no matter where they're from in life. You could be very successful. You could be a multi-millionaire and come into this industry but never have done this industry. You still got to be teachable and coachable to what the system is. But when somebody comes in and they are teachable and they ask you for your help or advice, and then you see them make their move with it and start using it, or if they were doing something, off course a little bit, but you saw where you could help turn them and correct them in the right direction with the system, and that person right away starts changing. That is so exciting, and you want to work with that person, because it doesn't need to be a struggle, because the system is already in place. And working with somebody together instead of kind of wrestling to try to make them do the right thing. Working with somebody in the right direction, it's not 2 times as good. It's at least a 10 times compound.
Yeah, I think that all of a sudden you get a little bit of taste of success, and then they want it more, and then they want to do more, and they want to experience more. So I can see where that compounding effect comes in. So you mentioned a word a moment ago, introvert. Let's talk a little bit about what that would mean, and what if a person feels like they are kind of introverted and they don't feel like, I'm not a good salesperson, and I know that network marketing, you have to sell and present and tell stories. That's just not me. So what would you say to that person that feels like that they're just not an outgoing type of person?
Yeah, Mike, surprisingly enough, I've seen a lot of introverts be some of the biggest money makers in this industry, and people are very surprised on that. Basically, sometimes you got to take baby steps with some people that aren't out there outgoing people person. But what we can do sometimes is we can adapt that system a little bit. Like maybe we can start them off on social media when they're not having to pick up the phone and make the phone call, or we can connect them Facebook or emails, private message, and LinkedIn and Instagram and Zoom. These Zoom meetings. I mean, the technology nowadays, and this is something I had to learn here in the last few years, is I had to get out of the old timer stage. I remember when we had dial-up phones, rotary phones, but, and we had pay phones on the corner. That's how we communicated, and beepers on our sides. But technology's moved us so far along that it helps people sometimes when we can help them take these baby steps, and we can help them focus. The biggest thing is we need to focus on their strengths, not their weaknesses. And I'm telling you, I've seen some introverts that are just outstanding at this. They but they can focus. See, that's one thing they're focused on, and they want to get things done like right away too. They don't want to spend a lot of time doing them. I've watched a lot of these guys. They're great at presentations, or gals. I don't want to say it's these people. They're very good at presentations. We just need to help attract people to them in different ways, because some of them might not have a lot of friends out there because they haven't really been out there, because if they're really introverted. But also we teach them, hey, let's recruit some people that aren't introverts, because we're building teams of people. It's not an I thing here. It's a we, let's, and us, okay? And if we recruit people that aren't introverts, that's going to help us. Basically, let's just adapt the system, and we'll surround these people with all sorts of people, so it doesn't depend just on them. And it's pretty simple there for like an introvert. Now let's talk about like somebody who doesn't like to sell. This was because if someone doesn't like to sell, I think the bottom line with somebody like that, and that was me, is that usually they don't like to be sold to. First of all, that selling thing, man, they put their hands out and they want to push back against it. So, but I learned something here. It was one of the best things that I learned for me mentally. And that was, they said, Bob, this is your business. You're inviting somebody to come in and make money with you. You're coming in there to let them have your product that's going to be able to benefit them and their families. So you're doing, instead of when you're picking up the phone, and trying to sell them something, you're picking up the phone to do them a favor. You're doing something to let them in on something, and they said, and when you call them, you might start talking to them about, what's missing in their life, or what do they want more of or less of, what's important to them, and then you could call them back. Sometimes in this industry, people just like what they call water hosing somebody. They want to call somebody and then just shove all the information down on them right off the bat. I've learned that you back that off, especially because that's when someone's really being sold, and they will run from you, and you'll never see them again. But
hey, here's a question.
What I learned is
do you know what the current CD rates are at the local banks? Just a ballpark.
Oh, I think they're down like 1 or 2%, maybe.
Yep. What would you say if I told you I found a local bank here that pays 5% in a CD and you had a CD maturing? Would you get mad at me if I told you where to go talk to that bank?
No, not at all. In fact, I'd appreciate that because, you know.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did I just sell you something? You know
that's correct.
It's a mindset. People that are listening to this right now need to realize that you do this business every single day anyway. You tell your friends about a new restaurant that you just ate at. You tell your friends about a movie you saw. You would darn well tell your friends and put it on social media if you found a bank paying 5% CD rate when everyone else is paying 1%. And I'm just using these as examples. I don't think there is a bank that pays that, but you would not feel bad doing that. And you would hope you would be watching your phone for a text message from your friend to come back to you and go, oh my word, I talked to the banker and I got that great CD rate. Thank you so much. Well, if your network marketing opportunity is a solid, reputable company and you are experiencing benefit from it, why wouldn't you just mention it to some of your friends? It's not like you're pushing them or being offensive. So I think it really does get down to a mindset shift.
Well, it is. And what I've learned, Mike, is like, you know, like I'm going to date myself here. I'm 54 years old right now. And here's the kicker is back about the age of 40, I started thinking about retirement. It's one of the reasons I entered this industry because I was watching my parents struggle in retirement. And, you know, nowadays you hear people talking about things, you know, if we listen and open up our ears, we don't have to sell anybody anything because, you know, let's just say I was talking to my buddy and we were talking, or somebody I knew or somebody I met and they were talking about not having money for retirement, or I asked them, you know, how are you doing on your retirement? Or however the conversation comes up. I could call them back a couple of days later. I don't need to mention something right then, but I could call them back a day later or something. And I said, you know, when we were speaking the other day, when you mentioned that you didn't have enough retirement money put away, you know, I think I might have an idea here for you. And that's how I would lead it in. They're going to feel that I'm doing them a favor. So,
and it really is something that that if, first of all, you have to have experienced the benefits yourself. So like you mentioned, weight loss. What if you were, you know, dropped 5 pounds and you were telling your friend, hey, I found something that helped me lose 5 pounds, you know, that would be just, yeah, I did notice you looked a little thinner. Then it comes up in conversation. But I think that you need to experience it yourself first, and then it makes it very simple to go, hey, I am experiencing whatever it is, increased income, less wrinkles, whatever that it happens to be. And then it comes up in conversation very genuine.
Right. Now, Mike, a little bit on that too, though. You know, at the beginning of when you're in a business, you might not have experienced something right away where you first start contacting somebody. And so what you can tell somebody is, hey, I'm about to start making some money to put away for retirement. I'm about, you know, I found a way I believe I'm going to be able to lose a lot of weight. I'm going to get started on it. Hey, you know, you want to start with me? You know, you want to do it together? Something like that. And, you know, and then, Mike, we go right back to that system. You pique their interest, and then you take them, and then all you do is you filter them and you funnel them right into your system that you're using. So
that's a really good point, because how do you get experience without experience? How do you get credit without credit? Well, you got to start somewhere. So if you don't have those great results, you say to someone, I found someone that, a friend of mine introduced me to this idea. I think it looks really great. Hey, do it along with me. Let's set 90 days together and let's do that. They've got these 3 steps here that you do. It really simple. Could you do it with me and hold me accountable to myself? And then now all of a sudden you're making sure you're getting it done. It's kind of like a study buddy, you know, you're making sure that both of you are getting it done.
Well, and Mike, you're using other, at that point too, you know, a thing I've kind of left out there, you just made me think about. I built this business using other people's success stories first, not my own, because I didn't have one. You know, because I have people tell me now, you know, you've made so much money, you have the success, it's easy for you. Even to this date, I really don't go out and use my story. A lot of times I'm using stories of other individuals and their successes. And but it helps my belief 100%.
Yep.
It's easier for me to tell the story now, but using other people's stories and testimonies can be a real big thing, and it's a part of a lot of people's systems in this industry.
It made me think of something else that I think we need to touch on, because you think of people saying I'm an introvert, and we touched on how people can move past that, or I'm not really great at sales. You don't need to be, just a simple, easy, duplicatable system. How about someone that might have tried a network marketing program in the past and had either a failure or it just never got off the ground? What do you say to that person?
Yeah, that's a good one, because there's some people in this industry that move around a lot, but they're always searching. So, and this is kind of a simple one, because they're still going to use the system. They might, sometimes we still got to teach them maybe what the new company system is, but it's what I have them say. We're just going to help them kind of change what they're saying. This isn't going to be something perfect what I say, but basically they can just say something they call up their friend or their family members and say, hey, Susie, hey, I've always been looking for the right company in this industry, because I know it's the future, and I know it's the way I'm going to, get to where I want to be in life, whatever that is, my retirement or whatever. Let me tell you something. I've redone my research. I've been with many companies, and I've never found the one that's the right fit. But you know what? I'm telling you something, Susie. I found it. And they got to say it with some energy, some enthusiasm. But basically, they need to testify that, yes, I have tested this stuff out, these companies out. I haven't found the right one, but you know what? I finally found it. And I would just simply, love your opinion if you just sit down and take a look at this with me. Let me give you the details, and you give me your opinion on what you think.
Because sometimes that becomes even more believable when their friend realizes that they've had stumbles in the past, or couldn't get another program off the ground, because they could literally point to that and say, hey, I know I've tried a couple of their programs and I just couldn't get it happening because I just didn't connect, didn't resonate with me, wasn't passionate. But let me explain something to you. When I heard this, and when I found out that it does that, man, it just lit a fire in me. Can I show it to you just to kind of see what you think and kind of bounce some ideas off of you? I think that you've heard the old lemons to lemonade example. When someone has that success or failure, don't let it keep you from success. Don't let it keep you down. Use it. Use it as a leverage point, right?
Oh, absolutely. No matter what the hurdle is, so for the most part, Mike, is, introvert or they don't like selling, or there's no success. There's always something that we can use. Once again, we're going to look at their strengths, but there's also always something we can use to adapt or mold and come up with for how they do it. But basically, it's still all going to be wrapped back around a simple duplicatable system that they're using in their business. But everything is adaptable for anybody.
I think that's the key word there is adaptable, not I think too many people feel like you mentioned the successful executive that would come in and they might feel like, oh, I've got business experience, I'm going to do it this way. No. Follow the system. Now you can just fine tune it just a hair right here because of your background, but you've got to follow the proven duplicatable system.
Absolutely. Sometimes you'll see some people that have had some great successes in their life. They'll come in. I mean, I did a little bit of this myself. I made some mistakes. I still make mistakes, but we can just keep, getting better. But, what you're looking for is what you're doing, is it duplicatable? You can't just go around and start having your friends send you checks and buying things and without using the system. You might be able to bring in a lot of people in your business all of a sudden, but here's the big question, can they do what you do? More than likely, no. And a system is built so you can walk away from it. McDonald's, the owner of McDonald's, you're not going to see them there. In fact, you're going to see them kind of kicking back in life. They got, maybe some stress on their back because they got so much overhead, but the places are being ran by themselves. It's the same thing that's designed in this business. The duplicatable system made it so it can travel down into many people and be duplicated and duplicated down and down and down. And if you're just going to use your credibility to bring people in, a lot of people, because once again, we're talking about the average person. People come in this business from every aspect of life. That's where there can be challenges because they're not used to doing this. That, they could be from a lawyer or big massive company CEO to a doctor to a dentist, all the way down to your ditch digger or your bus boy or something. And I'm not trying to say down like that but your realm of your pay scales can be
but
so
they don't
variable.
have the same connections that the corporate CEO does.
That is correct. That is correct. And that
I'd
was
almost
a learning
rather
lesson
hear
for
a
me.
success story from the ditch digger that made a success in network marketing than because too many times I'm sure people parade at conventions. Look at Bob, Sue, or Mary who, look at this great success. Well, if you really peel it back, it's because they were the CEO of some multinational, and the fact that they just mentioned it to some people, they're just doing it and falling into place. Whereas the ditch digger, I want to hear his success story when he succeeds because he had to really work and make it. And if it's that easy and duplicatable and simple for him to follow, I could do that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There's a story. I know a guy that got in this business. They were in retirement age. He was going blind and he was losing his job. He drove, he sold Cadillacs for a living. So the owner of the Cadillac dealership didn't want him in the cars anymore. And, him and his wife were able to build themselves an incredible business, no matter what the handicap was. And he was a car salesman. He wasn't the owner of the dealership, and that can be a difference on how many people you know and your credibility. But here they were able to have some success, a lot.
So we've talked about a duplicatable system and following the plan. I would like to just kind of wrap up the final section here with what would that look like on a daily basis? What are some things that someone could be prepared to go, okay, I hear the word duplicatable system, but what could I do tomorrow morning for not 4 hours because I can't take that much time, but what could I do for this 20-minute block of time and then maybe the next day for a 30-minute block of time? What are some daily disciplines that could be done?
Right, and that's a big thing. I was taught, Mike, in my early days, the guy said, you need to develop a DMO, and I'm like, what in the world is a DMO? He said a daily method of operation. He said first you got to make a decision, Bob. Are you going to be doing this part-time, full-time? It's one of the two. It's not a sometimes business. It's part-time or full-time. Now, so I started off part-time, and it's usually the suggestion that everybody starts off part-time because you need a job or you need other income in to support you as you're building your business. But when I changed this to full-time, even though I was a business owner, and so I was used to taking control over my time during the day, I learned that I did a lot of that really good running employees and running a business because I had a structure where I had to go to every day. But then when I started going full-time and I started doing it out of my house, I had to make sure I worked a DMO or you could end up really easily sitting on the couch. And this is the same thing as a part-time person. So really, I say it like this. There's 4 things that a person needs to do. First, what they need to do is they need to determine what they want. The second, they need to decide what they're willing to reschedule or give up in order to get what they want or how they're going to fit this in the nooks and the crannies. 3, they got to associate with people who will help them get what they want. And then 4, they got to have a plan that works and work the plan. So I tell people you got to treat this like a business no matter what. Do not treat it like a hobby. It's a business, okay? You do it in the nooks and the crannies. It does not have to be full-time. It can be a couple hours a day. Consistency is everything. Cut out distractions. As people start making their move toward building their business, it's just universally known, life is going to throw things in your path. You've just got to get those distractions out of the way and make that determination that you're going somewhere with this and not give up. So we teach people to kind of have a daily schedule. A couple of things I would tell people that they've got to fit into their schedule is, because a lot of times they have a lot of their playing around time and stuff that for short-term periods they need to cut out. But if they'll cut that out and treat money-making activities, what they have to do in life, and then fit fit this in there, it'll work. So a couple of the daily schedules I tell people that they should work on is personal development. They're just working on themselves. They're reading, learning books or motivational books, motivational CDs, whatever. Personal development. They've got to work on themselves because it's a, mental industry, mentally strong. You got to be mentally strong and fit. If they got a team going, they need to contact their teammates. They need to be doing prospect phone calls. I mean, that's the nature of the game, is to make those calls. They got to be doing the presentations. They've got to have family. It's important to have your family time scheduled in there, and the things that you have to do, spiritual. A lot of times spiritual and family comes before everything for people. So get them in your calendar, and then start working, getting a new person started or doing a follow-up or going to an event. But, Mike, I got a day planner. I've never ran a day planner ever until I got into this industry.
Yeah.
And I got one now, and I'm telling you, I run a daily schedule. It is in my day planner. If it's not in my day planner, I'm not doing it. So It's a simple DMO, and work that with the people that are in your upline, in your company, and find out what they would have you do, but develop a daily method of operation so you can be consistent.
I love it, and I feel that when you could look back over your week or month or quarter and see, what, I did these actionable, simple, easy items, these things in the nooks and crannies, as you say, and I did it each and every day. Oh, I missed that day, but man, I picked right back up, and I don't need to feel like I double up on just pick right back up and get on the program. And I think that daily planner, whether it's a written planner, online, it doesn't matter, but just something where you can see for the next block of time, okay, I'm at work. Well, now during my lunch hour, I'm going to eat and I'm going to do these things. And oh, hey, now for this next block of time, I'm going to do this. And it really gives you that sense of staying in alignment. I love your point about that, and I think that you would agree that that as soon as someone finds just a glimmer of success, makes that first sale, and I've seen so many people that go, I did some online marketing and I made $12.27 and I framed that check. It doesn't need to be big money, but as soon as you get a little bit of success and you want more and more and more, so it becomes easier to stick with that plan. Is that something you've seen as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It does. Now, Mike, I did get to the point myself where I started going the opposite way on the plan because I had so much success that I started forgetting what my daily method of operation was. But, you usually can tell somebody's success by looking at their day timer and what's in it. And, it was real easy to pull myself back on track because, I knew I had that DMO and I was able to use it and move forward. But yes, it is important, especially when someone this is all they're doing. No, it's important the whole time. I better watch what I say there. It's important all the time.
Yep.
Because you got to be consistent, because that's the bottom line is that they say eat an apple a day if you want to keep the doctor away, but nobody ever said if you can't eat an apple every day, go ahead and eat 7 on Saturday.
Yep.
Because if you eat 7 on Saturday, you're probably going to end up at the doctor.
Exactly. And, let's use a quick sports analogy before we wrap up. Do you think that Tom Brady or any athlete in the field and the sport that you identify with, but you think that these top athletes don't do the basics? They don't practice. They don't just show up on game day and are excellent. They do the hard work. They might be there before everyone else and stay after everyone else because they know that what got them there has to continue to be done.
Oh, absolutely. Success is always built when nobody's watching.
Yep.
And it's when everybody else is laying in bed, it might have been me driving home from being out of town, in the later times at night as I really started getting my business growing really fast. It's those, but why was I driving home at night? Is because I had something on the schedule for the next day that I needed to I had to get back. I had to do what I had on that day timer. So I was just making that time up. It is success is built by doing it consistently and doing it. And if you want to be real successful and not just average, then you put it, and then you start doing it when nobody else is looking, and that's where the success is.
Well, Bob, is great to dive in deep on this one topic, how the average person can succeed with an easy, duplicatable system. What's the best way that people can reach out and connect with you?
Mike, I keep it pretty simple. So
awesome.
I don't got all these websites and stuff. It's simple. You can just call me directly on my cell phone, and you can call me at 720-435-5076.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Mike, have a great day. Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.